That ends our new business. We will now go on council report.
Mr. Mayor, yes, before all the scouts leave the building, will you let them know that you're about 2 minutes away from the end of the meeting, and if they want to sit in the big chairs and get their pictures made, they're going to miss out.
They've already gone out the door. Okay. We got school night, so we're having I did bring the list of all the attendees.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'll go to council reports. Does any member of the council wish to be recognized for the purpose of the report? I recognize Mr. Sabat.
Well, I just realized that my bride, my wife, Mrs. Rita Sabat is here, and today, August 8th, would equal 4 years of living together with that wonderful bride. Stand up, honey, so that people know who you are. Stand up. My anniversary. This is one comment that I just wanted to make sure that it gets captured for the record. Besides that, have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Sabat. Any other member? Ms. Katz?
I do. Unfortunately, this past week, the Gwinnett County Bar Association lost a 5-member, Mike McDaniel, who was a prosecutor and a criminal defense attorney for a period of time. He was a good man. He was 55 years old and lost his battle with cancer. He leaves behind a wife and 3 children, and his funeral is in Snellville this week, so I'd ask that you keep his family in your thoughts and prayers this week.
Thank you, Ms. Katz. Ms. Bender?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got just a couple of comments. First of all, with the proclamation that was read for Dr. Ito, I'd like to thank Councilmember Sabag for bringing that forward. Dr. Ito was my family doctor for probably 15 to 20 years since my husband and I have been in Snellville, and he really was a terrific doctor and one of those ones that took as much time as you wanted with him when you went in for an appointment. So I'm glad that we had that honor for him, for his family and his children tonight. I'd like to make a comment or just a follow-up to a council comment that Councilmember Couts had mentioned at the last meeting, talking about disagreement and harmony. And in fact, I've been to several courses and have actually worked with some companies about harmony in the workplace. And Ms. Couts was spot on, especially I think in government, in that we need people on council, we need people on our commissions that are willing to bring their own voice, their own backgrounds, their own opinions to the table. And they need to be able to feel free to bring those opinions and bring those ideas and allow them to be discussed and debated and to have disagreements. There are many, many times, be it at work or facilitating some client meetings, that disagreements arise. And it's through being able to really hash those out. Sometimes voices get raised, sometimes people get a little angry, but in the end, everybody's able to be respectful of one another. They have that basic level of respect and trust for the other people in the room. I think where I have a bit of an issue with the comments that she made is only where she stopped. I believe this council has been very good about discussion, debate, disagreement, and being able to work things out. Where I run into an issue is when that disagreement turns into a public statement, a public accusation that someone in disagreement has done something wrong. A public accusation that's not based on any fact or truth. It's something someone says they believe, an opinion that they derive through who knows where. Everyone's entitled to their opinions. And again, I'm not having a problem, I don't have a problem with people disagreeing as long as we're disagreeing on the issue. When it becomes a personal attack, a personal statement is where I draw the line. So I believe we can have disagreement, we can have discussion, can have debate, and we can have harmony. Because in the end, we've all got to walk out of that room, and the next day when we all get back together, we have to still be able to sit down and debate and discuss the new issue on the table. And it's hard to do that when those accusations start flying and that type of action happens. My next comment relates to another issue that was brought up in the July 11th meeting, and it regards my campaign and an action that my campaign took. And normally I don't talk about campaign issues here on the council dais. I don't think there's a place on it, but it called into question the Snellville Tourism and Trade Association and its status as a 501c3. Now, the very next day, the staff board member emailed the mayor and council and the staff board and explained the situation. But through a conversation I've had with somebody over the weekend, I realized that conversation or that explanation was never made public. And while the t-shirt issue was printed in the paper, so it's out there, I just wanted to clarify the situation so that people understood that there was no wrongdoing. To do that, I have Ms. Kelly McAloon is the one that wrote the email, and if you will forgive me, I would like to read just a couple of portions of her email that explain the situation. Again, it was addressed to mayor and council and fellow staff board members. And I'm quoting from her email. It has come to my attention that there's been some question regarding the Star Spangled Snellville t-shirts that I printed to give away at the Star Spangled Snellville event. Just want to make it very clear that I, Kelly McAloon, asked all the following business owners to sponsor a shirt that could be given away at the event. Each sponsor was charged $140 and 150 shirts were printed. As you all know, I work for a company that screen prints, embroiders, etc., and I thought it would be a great idea to be able to give out shirts during this event, creating excitement among the people. These shirts were in no way a product of the Snellville Tourism and Trade Board. They were simply a shirt she asked sponsors to participate in so they could be given out at the event. My company, STA, this is again still quoting, STA Apparel has billed each sponsor and all checks are payable to STA, not STAT. I've printed shirts in the same way for the grand opening of the farmers market last year and the second batch this year to kick off the opening of the market. Gretchen and the farmers market ladies are very appreciative to get the shirts and give them to those who participate in the market and those who attend the market on a regular basis. It's still quoting, honestly, I'm very disappointed that the printing of these shirts have become such a political issue. This is my lesson in politics 101. If I would have known that my fellow staff board member, Brian Penley, would have been grilled while giving the stat report, I would have done it myself. I'll skip some of this here. Most of us work full-time and volunteer what other time is left in the day on this board to make our city a better place. My heart is in the same place as all of you, but I can't believe how political this has become. I feel the statement regarding STAT could possibly lose our 501c3 status as a serious matter and one that needs to be addressed. I've worked very hard over the past year along with other staff board members, and I believe with all my heart that STAT has made an overwhelming difference in our city. Our board is dedicated and hardworking. I would not jeopardize STAT status. I would rather resign than to jeopardize the organization we have all worked diligently to build up. I encourage all of you to lend a helping hand at any of our events. That way you can see firsthand what we do. Please feel free to come to any of our meetings where any question can be answered. The key to working together will be how well we use our communication skills. So that was just an excerpt of Ms. McAloon's email explaining the situation. I just wanted to go on record that there was no wrongdoing. This was run by someone well-versed in ethics, so there was no issue with my campaign logo being on these shirts. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Ms. Bender. Any other council member wish to speak? Mr. Woods?
Thank you, Mayor. In going along with what Mr. Bender just said, last Thursday, one of our department heads resigned. in one of the news outlets, Councilwoman Couch was quoted as saying, "I truly believe that this departure at the beginning of this election season was driven by the actions of my fellow council members and the fact that Mr. Betty was not a member of their clique." I asked the mayor as to why she would make a statement like that, and I was informed that Ms. Couch also made a statement that she had seen me arguing with Mr. Betty at Monday's meeting and asked if I had Mr. Betty fired, which I could not do. She's told that I had nothing to do with it, but rather than call me or Mr. Betty, and after being told that I had nothing to do with it, Ms. Couch emailed the above statement to news outlets. Bear in mind, she was not contacted by the news outlets. She emailed the statement to these outlets. If Ms. Couch had taken the time to either contact myself or Mr. Betty, she would have found out that the argument was nothing more than Mr. Betty giving me some follow-up on a citizen's complaint they had worked on that day. Mr. Betty and I have never had so much as a disagreement. This morning I'm told Ms. Couch posted that she was being attacked by colleagues. And the only thing that I believe that Ms. Couch has been questioned on this past month.
These comments are not for personal attacks on council members. I've sat here and been willing enough to take that with Jennifer and vendors and Mr. Witz's comment.
Mr. Witz, if you know,
Great things are happening in Snellville over the past few years. And most citizens know who was and was not involved. Not by anything that anyone had said or professed, but more by their own observations and paying attention, as well as attending this body and other city functions. I'm very proud of the progress that was made in this city. Very proud. And I'm not about to watch those achievements or the people responsible rake through the mud for one's personal political gain. I'm not on the ballot this November and may not ever run for office again. But the rest of the time I am here, I'll defend what's true and correct and expose half-truths, innuendos, and lies. And I need your help. Those of you who attend these meetings, please pay attention to where the negative remarks and accusations come from. Make note of who is not working with the other members of the council. Then, encourage your neighbors to watch the rebroadcast so they can judge for themselves who is working for the city, who comes to these meetings prepared, and who is really working on their behalf. If you see something glaringly wrong or inappropriate, copy it off of YouTube and put it on your Facebook page. Regardless of which one of us it is, the one thing that will stop all this is bringing it out of this chamber and into the light. If the citizens won't come to the meeting, then let's take the antics to them. The city has suffered bad publicity for the first time in 18 months. All I would ask is the next time you see bad publicity about the city, make note of who's making the comments. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Witz. That concludes our council reports. We'll now go to the mayor's report.